Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. We'll begin this afternoon with a work session on the FY22 operating budget for the Working Families Income Supplement non-departmental account. Let me turn it over to the chair of the Government Operations Committee, Chair Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee met on this particular item. I want to thank Mr. Smith for his packet and also my GO colleagues, council members Friedson and Councilmember Katz. So in terms of the summary of this particular item, as we all know, the state has increased the value of the tax refund for this program to the through the 2021 Relief Act, and the county matches the state's refund 100%. The estimated increase in FY22 for the increased refund is it's basically $15 million. The state also has expanded the program to allow taxpayers that file with an individual tax identification number, ITIN, to qualify. The estimated increase in FY22 for the program's expansion is $10 million. And that includes the additional $5 million recommended from the executive on April 21st, 2021. In addition, as we all know, Bill 14-21E is being considered by the council to allow the county to provide refunds for ITIN taxpayers so we can align with the state. The executive recommended using $25 million from the ARPA funding to offset the increase in expenditures in FY22. The GO committee concurred, and the state expansion of the program applies to tax years 2020 to 2022. Therefore, the county's estimated $25 million expenditure increase will apply for 3 fiscal years 22 to 24 as well. So with that, just to summarize the recommendation, we do recommend an FY22 appropriation of $45,105,090 for this budget. Includes that executive's recommended $5 million amendment. Also, we concur with the executive's recommendation to use $25 million from the ARPA funding, the American Rescue Plan Act, to offset the increase in program costs for FY22. And we also recommended adding $25 million to Category 1 for FY23 due to the multi-year fiscal impact from this program's expansion. As we have also mentioned in the past, this is a very important program. Really makes a huge difference in our working families when it comes to sustainability and when it comes to really addressing issues of poverty. And therefore, I think that this is really good news and money very well spent. So that is the GO recommendation. And if there are any additional questions, of course, anything that I have missed, I'm sure Mr. Smith can elaborate.
Thank you so much, Chair Navarro. This is indeed great news for our residents. It's not only the right thing to do, we have few opportunities to add some progressivity to our local taxes, and this is a great opportunity we can take advantage of. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. Appreciate the committee's recommendation here and the county executive's budget recommendation. It's really exciting. I remember the hard work we did many years ago as a council to restore this important program to its 100% match, and to see that be the foundation for an evolving application to those who might otherwise be left behind is really thrilling. And it's really one of the most important things we do. And I just want to express appreciation and strong support for this recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks to the GO committee, all the members and the chair, all those in favor of the committee's recommendations to adopt the Working Families Income Supplement NDA operating budget, please raise your hand.
I vote yes, Mr. Chairman.
My hand is raised as well.
Excellent. We'll take your word for it. Okay. That passes unanimously. Now we're going to take up the very simple and entirely new issue of tax duplication. Thanks so much to Chair Navarro for her leadership untangling this for us. Chair Navarro.
There are a lot of people to thank in this particular item. First, I want to acknowledge Councilmember Katz's work throughout so many years on this issue. And I also want to acknowledge all of our municipalities, leaders, all the representatives for working very hard, particularly this year, as I believe that we are very, very close to a permanent solution. I also want to thank the executive and the administration for engaging in this conversation and getting us a little bit closer as well. Let me first summarize. In your packet, you'll see that in terms of the summary of the key issues, as we know, the county approved eligible services and formulas for property tax duplication payments are in a resolution that is contained in Circle 2 to 4. The council approves an appropriation based on those formulas, and since FY13, it has also provided additional funding greater than the required by formulas to each municipality. Now, the executive has proposed changing the eligible services and formulas for property tax duplication payments. The GO committee did not recommend approval of that proposed resolution yet. Rather, we requested that the executive continue working with the municipalities to really iron out some issues that I think it's going to be, very possible to do so. And we just felt that there needed to be a little bit more time to do such work. Instead, what the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee recommended, which was a proposal that I put forward, informed by what our municipalities had shared, and as well in consultation with many folks, including also some recommendations from County Council Member Katz. This is what the GO Committee recommends. Number one, approve the FY22 appropriation as recommended by the county executive. And that particular appropriation is $9,122,411. Number two, add 2 million, 1.5 million, and 1.5 million in tranches to category 2 list for the difference between the executive's recommended appropriation and the estimated amount that the municipalities have stated that they are owed. And then finally, to add a provision to the FY22 County Government Operating Budget Resolution as follows. It is the council's intent that by October 1st of 2021, in collaboration with the municipalities, that the county will codify a consistent process and method to update the property tax duplication formulas and to allow payments for shared services. The county council delegates this effort to the county executive or his delegate to work with municipalities and provide revised property tax duplication formulas in any county code amendments to allow for payments of shared services related to police services. The council anticipates that the executive municipalities will provide regular updates about every 2 weeks to the council on this effort until a revised resolution and a proposed amendment are transmitted to the council. I will note that it was the committee's, in terms of our discussion, we feel that this would be able to solve all of those outstanding issues that for next year's budget, we will have then the type of formulas and the type of resolution that is agreed upon by all parties. It was really wonderful to have Councilmember Katz propose that, of course, we get these updates every 2 weeks because we want to make sure that the work gets done appropriately. And so that is in essence what we proposed. I don't know, Mr. Smith, if there's anything else that I might have left, but I believe that covers what the GO committee had adopted unanimously. Is that right?
It does, Ms. Navarro. The only thing I'll add is that the executive's recommended resolution does not need to be acted on during the budget process. That the resolution you cited earlier, 13650, will continue to be the resolution until a new resolution is proposed. Just to clarify that the council does not need to act on that during the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And we had received some correspondence from the municipalities asking us to actually amend that resolution with this type of language. But it was decided that it was best to just include this in the budget resolution and then have the executive or his designee to work on updating the resolution and the formulas instead. And I also want to thank Councilmember Friedson for participating in these conversations and also adding to this issue. And hopefully pretty soon we will have a permanent solution. So with that, I think that's what the committee recommended. I would like to acknowledge Councilmember Katz for remarks, of course, because he has been leading on this issue for many, many years. And for the GO committee, he has been there having those conversations and getting us closer and closer to this moment.
Well, and thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to very publicly thank you for all of your hard work and effort on this. And I also want to thank Mr. Madaleno and the county executive as well as Mr. Councilmember Friedson. This has been dragging on for years and years and years. And finally, because of many people coming together, and we have to certainly include the municipal leaders as well. Finally, looks like, we're not there yet, but it looks like that we're going to be there. And that's what this is going to take. I do believe that this is not just about tax duplication. This is actually paying the municipalities for the work that they are doing, that if they were not in existence, the county would be doing. When you plow a street, when it snows, if the municipality were not in existence, Montgomery County would have to do that work. So this is really getting us to where we should be. And I think the whole idea of keeping everybody's feet to the fire, literally, that we need the county exec and Mr. Madaleno and others to come back by October 1st and get those updates every couple of weeks to make sure that both sides are having the discussions is important as well. This is a wonderful day for all involved, and it took a lot of people to get us there. As I say, it's been years, but I do appreciate it, and I think we are finally going to resolve this issue. I jokingly told my friends from the municipalities, I don't know what we talk about after this, because every meeting we've had, it's always been brought up. I have a feeling we'll think of something else to chat about. But anyhow, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Well,
Councilmember-
I just wanted to add one last thing, Mr. President, and I wanted to say that this also is a nice little gift for Ms. Ludlow, Suzanne Ludlow from Tacoma Park, and she said that she was about to retire, and she's been a fierce advocate for so many years. I think it was so important for us to be able to get us very close before she leaves her many, many, many years of service as well.
Absolutely. Fierce advocate is right. Thank you, Ms. Ludlow. And thanks so much to you, Mayor Katz, for helping guide us through this and all the time you've put into this as well. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. Okay, so if I understand correctly, the recommendation is that we'll put the amount that the municipalities have been asking for in the Category 2 list, which is a list of expenditures we'd like to make, but we don't yet have any revenue for. And we'll come back to it this summer and figure out if we have revenue for that. And then meanwhile, we are asking the executive branch, and this is really where I wanted to focus here. We're asking the executive branch to lead a negotiation to update the formulas. I think the latter part is really important. We've got to have something that is on paper and everybody showing their math. And I just want to really set the expectation that there's a word, there's some language in here about we're deferring to the executive branch. We're delegating to the executive branch to lead the process to negotiate and come forward with a proposal. That proposal has to be shown, in terms of how it works and what the math is that supports the tax duplication allocations. At the end of the day, this is about a specific set, it's how you allocate the share of a particular expenditure that is duplicated. And so it's a math-based issue, that has to be, again, it has to be shown in writing. And if we get that, then I think the council is really going to have the ability to move forward. I guess what's been kind of frustrating is the last couple of budget cycles, we've just received a recommendation in the executive's recommended budget without the implementation of that broader process. And that's really our obligation, is to ensure that process happens. I'm a little worried that there'll be, some municipal leaders may be disappointed due to just a lack of clarity about what Category 2 means. So I want to share, we don't know what a Category 2 means yet, but I think it's a statement of our desire to resolve this issue. And the way to do that is going to be for executive branch to go through the process, come back to us with a formula, show us the math, and then we can approve that. And that's really been the needed effort. And we were working on that a number of years ago. it was led at the council by council staff, and it kind of ended. I think parties sort of lost interest. So it would be great to see that resume and bring it to completion. I certainly, as I think maybe I'm the only council member who actually pays a municipal tax. I don't know. There could be another. Oh, Sydney, of course. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
So Sydney and I would be the council members who pay, taxes to both the municipality and to the county. I think it'd be nice for the community members to be able to feel like there's a process to address this rather than a political process. There's an actual budgetary process to address this. Last point I want to make, I do think it would be important for us to pursue the idea of providing the differential through a property tax reduction rather than a check. I think that has been something that has contributed to the confusion over the years because the residents aren't aware who live in municipalities that a payment actually has been made, on the basis of their duplicated payment. So I think that would be an important part of an overall transparency improvement, for the county. So look forward to seeing this work in progress continuing, and appreciate the efforts here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Albornoz.
Okay, several thank yous here. First to the GO committee, who I know has been tackling this issue for some time, and in particular, Councilmember Katz. I also want to express my appreciation to the municipalities themselves, who spent a lot of time educating all of us, particularly the newer members of this council, on this issue. And as Chair Navarro mentioned, Ms. Ludlow in particular has just provided extensive background on this issue and has answered a lot of my questions, and I'm sure that of my colleagues as well. So this is clearly representative of progress. And I do want to thank the executive branch. I've had many conversations, and I'm sure all of you as well, with Chief Administrative Officer Madaleno, who understands the urgency and importance of this. And so I do have confidence that we are not just headed in the right direction, but are going to address this issue firmly moving forward. So thank you all for this great work. And we know how important our municipalities are. And I actually do pay fees to my municipality within the town of Chevy Chase. And so I have a little bit of experience with that as well. But thank you all for your leadership on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Friedson.
Yeah, just really briefly, appreciate all of the efforts here. We're not at the finish line quite yet, but at least we have a direction of where the finish line is, which is a significant step in a very positive direction. Just wanted to thank our mayor, council member, or council member mayor. I can't remember which goes first, and chair of the GO committee, Councilmember Navarro, for her efforts. And I get to represent District 1. We house more municipalities in District 1 than any other district, and it's not particularly close. And so I have the pleasure of working really closely with our municipal partners. And, during this crisis in particular, we've had regular meetings with all of our municipal partners on a weekly basis to start, and on a regular basis now. And it's clear that we are all providing critical services to residents. We are partners in the quality of life and in the public services in Montgomery County. And this is an area where we should be working together, locking arms, and making sure that we're doing right by our residents, doing right by the tax dollars that everybody is paying. And so I think this is a positive step. I really appreciate all of the municipalities for all of their work, not only on this issue, but on the services that they're providing to our residents on a regular basis. And appreciate the fact that we are taking a step forward here and have a plan to move forward, and look forward to working with the executive branch once they have worked things out to be able to bring this to a final resolution.
Thank you. Councilmember Glass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too just want to weigh in real quick. Thank Chair Navarro for the heavy lift here, as well as Council Member and Mayor for Life Katz on your efforts there. I just really wanted to weigh in because I also wanted to give a special shout out to former Tacoma Park Mayor Bruce Williams, who first schooled me on this issue many years ago. When I first started understanding or trying to understand the complex web that you have untangled. So thank you for that, and also appreciate former Tacoma Park Councilmember Elrich for working with us all to make this happen. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor of the committee's recommendation, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Terrific. Now we take up debt service. Very proud of the work this council's done to maintain a really high credit rating. We've had incredibly difficult circumstances, of course, this year. I want to thank Chair Navarro and all the members of the GO committee and the central staff for being focused on that this year as well, under a lot of fiscal pressure. Let me turn it over to Chair Navarro.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Glenn Orland, who I recall a couple of years ago being meeting in my office and him just kind of saying, hey, gotta like steer this major ship somehow, and it's gonna take a lot of effort. And I have to say that the council has begun to work on this issue. Then Councilmember Elrich and our County Executive Elrich knows this too well, and I think understands very clearly how important this is. Never an easy thing to do because we do have a lot of needs, but it has been stated time and time again, our debt service is something that we just have to pay. And it really does interfere with our available resources to address many of the issues that we are facing, because it does interfere with our operating budget dollars. So it is a very important aspect, but we are continuing to work on this. And as you stated, Mr. President, very important component of our AAA bond rating conversation and our narrative. So we continue to do whatever we can to address this piece. So the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee met, and then we recommend approval of the appropriation as recommended by the county executive, of course. There are two amendments that were recommended by the executive on April 21st, and those were pretty technical in nature, but basically to switch to $112,000 between non-tax supported expenditures to tax supported expenditures. And the switch is needed because the retail and the Wheaton building remains unleased. Also to use $1.4 million of the American Rescue Plan Act funding for the lines of credit expenditures in FY22. The use of ARPA funding increases the general fund resources, of course, available in FY22 for other uses. So our recommendation does not change the total appropriation amount, but it provides about $1.2 million in additional general fund resources for this FY22 budget process to support, of course, other expenditures. And we already know that we have definitely had to enhance and add to some of the recommendations from the county executive thus far. So that is the overall recommendation. Again, it's $448,687,490, and that is about a 2.7 increase from last fiscal year. So that is the GO committee's recommendation, and of course, Mr. Smith is also available in case I missed anything.
Mr. Smith? Yeah.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
You're good. Sorry, I missed a head shake. Okay, any colleagues? No comments. Okay. All those in favor of the committee recommendation, please raise your hand. Good work, GO committee. Persuaded everyone. That's all that's on our agenda today. Good work, everybody. We are adjourned.